Grand Prix as well, because he's retiring. Who's going to get this whole shot? The Moto Grand Prix of Aragon gets underway now, and right away the two Ducatis. Look at Cal Crutchlow. Crutchlow got a flyer then on the 35 off at the second row, but it's Marquez who used that soft tyre, and that
Lorenzo!
On his head goes Lorenzo and gets punted by his bike twice. Lorenzo has mucked up turn one and goes down. That is a disaster for Ducati when we were talking it up, but look who's out front. His teammate has managed to get it, and now we've got a Suzuki muscling Marquez as well. Wow, what a start to the Grand Prix of Aragon. Down has gone Lorenzo, the hot favourite. He's limping. Turn one is such a difficult corner, and he has just found out how difficult at the start of this race. 23 laps it is, 72.5 miles. Dovizioso, the teammate, is out front at the moment. You can always rely on Dovi, can't you?
You certainly can, but that's a risk you have to take. Lorenzo's always fast on that first lap, but how many times has he had to risk? You tip it into turn one, aggressive on the throttle, and you hope it sticks. And that time, unfortunately, it didn't. You don't save them.
Even Dovi is spinning just there out of Marquez corner. That's the new Marquez corner, turn 10. I think that's for depression. I hope it's for depression rather than a real injury. So Lorenzo has chucked himself out of this race. Breaking news. Jorge Lorenzo, the pole sitter. Turn one of lap one has gone out. Now we look at Dovizioso coming to the back straight. Watch this Ducati now. He'll stand it up. Lorenzo's out, and that will be for Marquez's board for sure.
Yeah, I think most of the other riders will have seen it, because I think he was in second, wasn't he, when he tipped it in?
At the time, down the back straight then, the Ducati into the final, well, we call it two turns here. I don't know why it's one big sweeping turn to pick up a late apex. Dovizioso out wide, and then they square it off as they start to rise up the hill. End of lap one then, 22 laps to go. And it was Marquez's board. Lauren out, Lorenzo out. So Marquez with that soft rear tyre. I have to say, I didn't expect that. I really didn't expect to see a soft tyre, and that is the marvellous thing about Michelin.
Round the outside, that's what happened. And he's wide, look at that.
He's right out on the dirty stuff, isn't he?
He's looking at it high-sides him. He should have low-sided him, but unfortunately it gripped, and look at that.
And he lands right on his head. See the airbag pop off then? Did you see it go bang in the middle of that leap? The algorithms for that. But he's got a face plant there. That would have hurt.
Fell very awkwardly.
Very. Amazing how the airbag in mid-air popped open. You look at that in slow-mo, ladies and gents. Wind it back at the end of the race.
But what caused it was the fact that Marquez dived up the inside. He was trying to be aggressive, let the brake off, roll round the outside of him.
Perfectly legitimate.
As every rider would do. The problem is it just put him on the dirty part of the track. A little bit less grip. Obviously the first corner, and you don't save them.
Normally traction would deal with it. If he'd been on the grippy bit, he would have had enough traction to sort that out. But once he got out on the slippy stuff, that Ducati, that's all she wrote. Now then, the battle. Keep an eye on the man in third place. Iannone had great one-lap pace, as he always does. Has he got race pace? Oh, look at Alvaro. Where are you off to? The 19 then finds himself dead wide. He slots in behind Cal Crutchlow. Crutchlow having a little more of a struggle in these first couple of laps than maybe he would have liked. Here we go again then, out of turn 15. Look at the way Marquez takes that big sweeper and then dives it onto the left-hand side, onto this back straight now, looking to try and get that.
Look at that though, but look at the difference coming out of there.
Oh, Alvaro now. Yeah, you're right. The Ducati just leaps away, doesn't it? And fuel load. Here's Pedrosa.
And you see Marquez through that S before the back straight, working as hard as he can. He tries to gain a couple of bike lengths because he knows he's going to 10 all the way down that straight.
Wants to get on the throttle that millisecond earlier, so he's at least got the jump on the Ducati on the launch onto that back straight, but doesn't quite get it. Marquez has got the fastest lap so far, 49.082, and 8.5 was Dovizioso, so they were 0.003 of a second between them. And no surprises there.
Rins passed his teammate. Rins is going to do what it looks like what he did at the last round.
Yeah.
We've not mentioned him again all weekend. The only time we've mentioned him this weekend was to say how good he was in Misano. Oh, I thought he was going to get dive bombed by his teammates.
I thought Iannone was going to make the 29 straight up the inside of Rins' bike. This is Bautista's off. Let's have a listen.
Strange one.
Yeah, strange one. It's like he left the stand down.
It sounded like that. Trail braking into there. It's a little bit down, a little bit off camber, but not many people crash there.
No, it's a bit of an odd one, and we'd need to see it from outside to make any kind of comment on it, other than a flippant one. I apologise for that straight away.
They might have left the stand down.
They don't. Stop it.
Stop it.
So, 0-4. Dovizioso. It's all down to him yet again, isn't it? The reliable Andrea Dovizioso. The cheap Andrea Dovizioso.
It's not so cheap now.
Yeah, but he's still a bargain.
Oh, it's still a bargain.
Still a bargain.
If you're winning races for a manufacturer, if you can win championships, whatever they're paying you, you are cheap.
Suzuki, third and fourth. Oh, hello. That was cheeky, on the flip-flop. That was quite neat, though, wasn't it?
Well, no. Cheeky and stupid. No, don't do that. No.
He's trying to make Rins stay behind him.
Yeah, exactly. Because look at what the gap he's created.
Yeah.
Stupidity. What you do at that point, it's early in the race, you stay behind your teammate, that's dragged you up to the back of Marc Marquez, and you stay there and wait and stay calm and suss it out.
Ego says, I'm not having my teammate in front of me, and Rins has gone straight back at him, as he should do. Pedrosa fastest lap. Then
Rins is going to go for it. No, sorry, I thought it was. He had a couple of looks.
Suzuki's working well early race, isn't it, at the moment? And look at that, he's absolutely dumped Iannone into the eyes of a man that could be a podium. Pedrosa around here, hot tyres working for him, race distance. Danny Pedrosa could be a podium man.
Rossi up to 11th place from 17th on the grid.
Bradley Smith 14th in the points. Scott Redding 16th. He just dropped behind Franco Morbidelli on the Mark VDS Honda.
So this is what I think. At the moment, Dovi and Marquez are not at 10/10ths. They are saving their tyres. The way that Suzuki's Rins is all over them, the way that Danny's caught them, Cal's caught them, instead of them pulling away, the lap times they're doing. Dovi's last lap was a 49.4. He can go a second a lap faster than that, in my opinion. And well, the fact that Petrucci's in 8th and he's gone 0.6 of a second faster.
Yeah, he's got the fastest lap at the moment. So you're right. It's that, particularly on the Honda, I would say that soft rear tyre. He's not going to want to cook that too early. He's going to need that for later. Keep your powder dry. Marquez is there, and that's why they're all stepped up together. Dovizioso, Marquez, Rins, Iannone, Pedrosa, Espargaro is back in 6th place on the Aprilia. And then Cal Crutchlow, I think Cal Crutchlow is in full management mode.
Yeah, well, do you know what Cal said after Misano? Cal said it, look, on those first laps, I just can't do what the other riders can do. But then he lets the new mature Cal lets a race come to him.
And the fuel load go down.
And it all feels better.
And Cal Crutchlow, as we know, is a superb motorcycle racer and will be looking for the advantages late on. And if these guys don't get too far away, maybe. I don't think anybody wants it. I think even Rins really, but that would be the advantage for the Suzukis, wouldn't it? Is to try and get in front of these guys and make a break if they have that performance in them. So manage the... Oh, dear me, Cal Crutchlow, and he's cussing like mad. That's got to be turn... Yeah, it had to be turn 1.
I can't believe that, Keith. That's his 3rd crash of the weekend. He's been so strong, apart from the crashes, but his pace has been fantastic.
Yeah,
his pace has.
Disaster, though. It's just not what Cal Crutchlow needs. He's just had that underlying, I'm not quite happy in his weekend so far. Every time I've seen an interview with him, I've just felt that he's just not going where he wants to go here. This is proper in long race management mode, isn't it? Everyone towed up behind each other at the moment. Dovi, Marquez. Let's have a look and a listen. Well, that went real early. I mean, he was trail breaking that.
Don't mention the stand.
No, I'm not going to. No,
it was just trail breaking in. It's really flat into there. Yeah, you talk about the lap times, Keith. So, Dovizioso's just done a 49.1 on his last flying lap. I looked down in 14th place. Frankie Morbidelli has just done the same lap time in 14th place.
That's Pedrosa getting some of his treatment back as Iannone's gone past. Back to Misano. Remember how Dovi judged his performance, his bike, his tyres to track so incredibly well. He made the break, but then he managed his tyres into the race. Lorenzo pushed. He had to because Marquez was all over him as well. Lorenzo fell down. I think Dovi has got such a brilliant feel for the way that motorcycle is. It's going to be interesting to see how he manages his tyre as now Rins looks at the inside of Marquez. Everybody is lined up. When was the last time we had this? We had a real tyre conservation. Bruno, that was it, thank you.
An interesting fact for you. In 9th place, Valentino Rossi's just set his fastest lap of the race.
Well, this is playing into his hands.
The same lap time as the leader. So if you look back, you see in the back of your picture, there, right in the back of your picture was Rossi.
This is the best thing that could happen for Valentino Rossi. He's got this pace all week long.
Yeah.
I think Rins is going to do over Marquez in a moment, and it's whether Marquez is going to follow him through. I think Rins fancies a bit, and the Suzuki again at this pace is easy. Here's the doctor. He's been down the road as well this weekend. He's looked pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Subdued, I think. And yesterday it almost looked like he didn't want to ride the motorbike in the afternoon.
Well, when was the last time, think about this, Keith, what I'm going to say, that you saw Valentino Rossi waiting for a tow?
Yeah, in qualifying.
He sat in qualifying.
Yeah, outrageous, wasn't it?
Which you've never seen. He's never needed it. So I understand what he was doing. He needed to find about half a second, and he thought, well, at least if we can get a bit of a slipstream down the straight to try and gain at least a couple of tenths.
Still then, we wait as we come out of the bus stop, onto turn 15 now, onto the straight. Winding it up. 4th gear, 5th gear, 6th gear, 215 miles an hour at least at the end of the back straight, 0.6 of a mile long. Tip it in, trail brake like mad, out a little wide as you wait for that late apex. Pick up the throttle in the perfect place, make it spin. There's a load of rubber down on this track now. There it is, information that Dobby knows. Yeah, use your head. I'm sure he is. He's got one of the best heads in the racing business, Dovizioso.
Bradley Smith up to 11th place.
Yeah, Bradley Smith should have gone through to Q2. Maverick Viñales and Franco Morbidelli got grid penalties. One got 3 places, one got 6 places. Morbidelli got the 6 because they held up Bradley Smith on a flying lap in qualifying, when I think he had the pace to go through direct to qualifying too. I think he really was thwarted in his efforts. Bradley won't ever say anything bad, I'm sure, but they both held him up. They were on the fastest part of the track and meandering around, and he had to roll out of it slightly and didn't quite go straight through to qualifying too. Bradley's got pace round here though, and race pace could be good.
Gav just came out with a really good point. He just walked into the commentary box to say this slow pace at this point might work for Marc Marquez on the soft rear tyre. Yeah,
I think he's double guessed them. I think what he's done is he's known that the pace is going to... I think this kid, at 25 years old, it's amazing what he thinks of. We were talking about it on the car on the way in here. It's amazing what he thinks of. We were talking about it on the car on the way in here. He has got everything worked out. This will be suiting Marc Marquez, Valentino Rossi perhaps because of the pace he's got. It's just a question, have they done enough miles on that soft in this temperature of 45, 46 degrees, which is the same as qualifying yesterday? But I reckon Marc Marquez of late, the new reformed Marc Marquez, does a lot of race test during his qualifying and during his free practice.
I was just about to say, if he's got a soft on the rear, he must have done close to race distance. He must have. Because obviously it's a gamble.
They didn't test here either. It wasn't a Honda test, it was a Yamaha test, a Ducati test. Ducati, I mean, has Dobby got the hard front and rear? I think he has, hasn't he? Does Dobby go for the... Yes, he has. He's got hard front and rear. So normal, rational thinking, he should be good to go. But that doesn't always work that way with the Michelin. Sometimes the soft tyre gives you grip in places and at times you wouldn't have expected it. He's got the hard rear in as well, hasn't he?
Valentino,
Rossi, I think. Looking at that,
he has.
Then
medium front, hard rear.
Hard rear, which you got to say, Dobby seems to have the right combination.
Look at Bradley there. You can see how hard he's trying. He's following Zarco thinking, hang on a minute, this is the man who stole my ride off me for next year. Do you think Bradley's motivated to stick it up the inside?
100%. 100%.
I know I would be.
Yeah, I know that.
Even if you could make it stick, you'd at least have a go.
We still have trouble with you now. I can't imagine what it was like then. Dobby still leads from Marquez, from Alex Rins, who's comfortable there in front of his teammate Iannone. Danny Pedrosa still 5th. Aleix Espargaro on the Aprilia.
Doing a great job.
Great job. Mustn't overlook him, of course. Danilo Petrucci 7th. Jack Miller in 8th place. Miller had good pace the other day in free practice as well. Valentino Rossi is up to 9th from Zarco, Smith, Nakagami, Shireen, Morbidelli 14th, and Maverick Viñales on the last point scoring place of 15th. Unreal. Bearing in mind, they tested here, Maverick Viñales really happy with the performance of the bike and the combination they had here at Aragon, and nothing has worked for Yamaha when they've come here on race weekend. Unreal.
So hard to work out what
really
is. But I'd like, when they say they've had a good test, I'd be really interested to see what the lap times were though, because
and the weather conditions.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's difficult to judge.
Listen to this. They're waiting to get on the gas, and you know, all us riders. We just want to tap it on earlier. The restraint you need, not to just give it a big squirt onto the straight. You just want to get a big handful on there and spin yourself onto it. But in this situation where you're trying to conserve a tyre, you do not want it to be spinning. You do not want to put any more stress through it than absolutely necessary. Otherwise it won't have anything back. Was it a jump start?
No, we're going to see. I think it's showing Lorenzo just to show.
Yeah, right in the middle there. You're right. Yeah, I wonder whether he had a little bit of a go at the clutch as well.
Yeah, so keep your eye on Lorenzo. He's on the outside. Marquez up the inside. He's every right to do that.
Yeah.
Then he just tries to carry that corner speed.
Oh, Jorge was unlucky. It took him out on the dirty stuff, and then he gets, just for good measure, gets a punt from the Ducati as well. Good camera. It's going to give us... And Cal Crutchlow got a great launch.
Oh, the worst feeling.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that's what a high side does for you. When you lose the grip, his water bag's gone off in his... someone's pressing him on the back where he's just landed as well. His water bottle has just squirted into his helmet as well. That's what that was. Well, nothing you can do, mate. You've done what you... done everything you could do. Now the rider's got to ride it, unfortunately.
Just thinking, when was the last time Jorge Lorenzo crashed out of 2 races in a row? Very rare you see that.
That kind of mistake, yeah, I mean, crash out of Misano, or you can almost forgive him for that. He was in a situation where he still had to keep squeezing to it, but turn 1 of lap 1, that is a rare mistake. But again, you get offline far enough.
Sorry, Marquez has front wheel into there then. He just had one of them moments, trail braking, you know, on the first part.
49.4 last time round was Dobby. Has Dobby started to ease it away? 49.0, he has indeed. I thought it looked like he just made a bit of a break there, and he just looked like he was trying a bit harder. So it's a tiny little nuance. It's just the tiniest visual that you get from the likes of Andrea Dovizioso. He kind of sneaks up on you, and he just looked like he'd got a quicker lap in there, and sure enough, when he got across the line, he was 3 or 4 tenths quicker than he was the lap before. I wonder if he's decided that with 14 laps to go, now's the time.
I think this lap is going to be the telltale sign, because his crew will have given him a 0.4 of a second, nearly half a second lead, which is a big enough gap for him to think, I'm going to push.
Rins on a hard soft, Iannone on a medium soft. Let's see what the 2 Suzukis are capable of. That was Davide Brivio, seemingly. Oh, well, Mark's gone with Dobby. So it was a 49.0 last time round for Dovizioso. Mark's made that space back up, which you would expect that tyre to still be good at the moment. The soft rear on the Honda I'm talking about. But if he has to put some stress through it, you know that Dobby will... He looked across. He knows what Mark's got on. Yeah. So he's going to be aware of what Mark's got on. Maybe now he's gone earlier than he originally scheduled, just to put Mark through a bit more pressure, to make Mark put some more wear on that soft. He does not want Marc Marquez this close in the closing stages. No, nobody wants Marc Marquez this close, because you know what he'll try into this section. The reality is, though, if he's not, unless he's right on the back, and look at that Ducati, just look, it's like, look at it. But how many bike lengths is that, Lucky? Thinking he went on to the back straight. What? I'm just wondering whether at the moment Marc Marquez has got his traction wound right up, and he's just being a little bit more gentle onto that straight, because he can't afford to spin it with a soft rear tyre. It's not going to stay with him at the end of this race, I don't think. That's what these lap times are this time. No, 49.2. Yeah. So similar. 49.0 that time for Marc Marquez. So 49.0 last time for Dovizioso. 49.0 this time for Marc Marquez. So Mark's quite happy to match whatever Dobby's doing. Bradley Smith's still in a big dice with Johan Zarco and Taka Nakagami. The amount of time you spend on these bikes sort of rolling the throttle through the middle of these corners before you can ask for full power. Especially this track, Keith, there's the one long straight, the back straight, then the rest of it is all these long sort of squeezing the throttle or squeezing the brake. Yeah, you almost can't call them corners, but you're never quite upright. Into the corkscrew section, which is a fantastic, just drops away. Then left. They designed this at Herman Tilke track. It's almost hard to believe. It's a fantastic circuit. He did a good job. This is the new the new Marc Marquez corner. Look how long this one is. Real long left-hander. Turn 10, and he chose that one. That was his. He had a choice of what corner he wanted to name after himself. And there's a nice monument, actually. I've got to say, done a good job of that. What they call those pinnacle, an obelisk with his 93 on it. There's the wall. On top of the wall is the other part of the track. Of course, they've already done that bit. And then they're working their way downhill. Stretched it a bit. This will be a good camera angle. Watch this Ducati stretch away. Look how quick he gets on the throttle there. Look at this. I just wish it had stayed with that camera. They're not riders, cameraman. Otherwise they'd have stayed with that bit, because they'd have been for it. Aleix Espargaro is the man at the moment, isn't he? At this pace. What kind of laps is he doing? He's well into the 49s as well. Espargaro, 49.5. On the Aprilia there, we're looking at him. The 41. But back with Dobby over the line, 48.9. Hello, does Dobby just pulled that pin? 48.9 that time, so he's 2 or 3 tenths quicker than he was last time around. Now then, looking back at Bradley
Bradley's
Smith.
got past Zarco.
Yeah, he's got past Nakagami. I think Nakagami and Bradley have gone past Zarco.
And
Zarco in trouble. Here comes Ranko Morbidelli and shoves Zarco out on the Lorenzo corner.
And that, yes, that is a factory Yamaha behind them all.
Maverick Vinales, the 25.
Incredible.
Started from the 5th row. Should have been the 4th row, but after that penalty for holding Bradley up, karma, perhaps. Bradley Smith well in the points in 10th place. Good job, we're looking at it. Bradley Smith on the 38 from Taka Nakagami. Made me smile at his quote on the grid, wasn't it? After the start, everyone is like an animal. I wrote it down.
True though, isn't it?
And that's what he's got to brush up on. It's what he's got to do better. Is at the start, he's got to work harder early on, and he is right. Everybody is like an animal once those lights go out. Turn 10.
I've just looked it up. The last time Lorenzo crashed out of 2 races back to back was 2011, Malaysia and Valencia.
Wow.
Yeah, he doesn't crash a lot.
No.
And he certainly doesn't crash a lot back to back.
Tell you what, Dobby has definitely done this a little bit, hasn't he? Dobby then to Marquez, pulled a little bit out on him, but that graphic says half a second. Now it's 0.6 of a second. Marquez is falling away, and that, I think, is Dobby just beginning to increase the pressure. 48.9 was the lap time last time at the line. We're coming to the end of the lap again. What will it be?
He's pulling a lot now, isn't he?
Yeah, 48.9 last time. Let's have a look and see what this time is. But Dobby looks comfy there. Oh, 48.3. 6 tenths.
Yeah, and that is when we say pull the pin. It's at that point with 11 laps to go. He's gone as fast as he can, set the fastest lap of the race.
Comfortable with his tyres. He's got them working at the right temperature. Fuel load has gone down now as well. So Dobby getting into a rhythm.
Keep your eye on Marc Marquez now. If you want to watch someone who's going to be riding over the limit. I was just thinking then in the shot before it, I saw Marquez lose the front.
I think we need to have a wide shot and keep Marc Marquez in it, don't we really? We don't want to lose track of him because you're right, he's just put his personal best in, Marc Marquez, 48.5, but it's still 2 tenths slower than Dobby's fastest lap of the race so far. Dobby doing a bit of...
what Dobby does, gets that thing stopped. He's always been a demon on the brakes.
And the Ducati enhances that very skill, doesn't it? It's a great bike on the brakes. When you've got acceleration and a stopper, it's always been there, but now it's got corner speed as well. Turn 1, the infamous turn 1. Still Rins and Iannone, 3rd and 4th though.
Doing a great job hanging on.
I think so. The 2 Suzukis, are they hanging on?
I like how Rins has Iannone's calmed down now and staying behind his teammate, which was a smart thing to do at that point in the race.
Alicia Spargo still gets my attention in 6th place still. Now then. Oh, I detect Marquez a little closer on that one.
Dislocation of his first toe on his right foot.
That's where he kicked himself up his own backside. Jorge Lorenzo flicked. He was lucky to get away with just that. 48.385 it was, 48.9, so a little slower, 48.4 from Marquez. I thought he'd increased the pressure.
Yeah, Marquez responded.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. This is a real dogfight. These two in and fro-in. They don't want to wear their tyres out just yet. They're just kind of testing each other, aren't they? Wandering around each other in a circle while the 2 Suzukis, 3rd and 4th. Result for Suzuki here, and it's looking good for the pair of them, I've got to say.
Well, this is what you get with the Dorna rules. With this team has concessions. They have 9 engines. They can test. Tests. More tests. They can change the spec of the engine.
Iannone apparently he's just gone in front of Rins, out of sight. Must have dived across him. Meanwhile, Ducati versus Honda. Dovizioso versus Marc Marquez. Closed him right down again. Another personal best from Marc Marquez to put him right on the tail of Dovizioso. Marc Marquez is getting a feel for this soft rear tyre. Let's have a look and see if he can... he looks like he's going to make a bit of a move on Dobby somewhere here. A little later in the race, and you could guarantee he was going to make a move on him. Wow. So through went Marc. He certainly looked like he was lining himself up for it. I thought it was the corner before he might do it, but no, Marc Marquez has now done it. Now we're going to see what that Ducati does down the back straight.
They touched that.
Yeah, they nearly did. Front wheel to back wheel.
Right, you want to see what a powerful bike looks like?
Yeah, well, funny enough, the Honda has been the fastest thing through the speed trap. Cal Crutzo's bike was 339k, wasn't it, through the speed trap this weekend? And you would have thought the Ducati will have well and truly had that, but no. Okay, Marc, you've decided to go out in front. Your tyre's hanging in there. We have got 9 laps to go when you cross the line in a second. That's where the Ducati's strong in it, grunting over the hill.
Really is. So 9 laps to go, Keith. We've seen what's just happened.
Yeah.
Who's your money on?
Well, the default is always Marc Marquez, but I just think, tyre-wise, that was close. That was so close.
That was class.
Yeah. Close and class.
That was close.
Well, class usually is close when it comes to motorbike racing. It's when they clout each other, that's when it's the problem. I still think, to answer your question, Dobby looks like he's got easy pace.
Agreed. It looks like he's in an outlap sat behind Mark now.
Yeah.
It's that sort of... Do you know what I mean?
When we say easy pace, he's just feeling his way. He's under no threat from 3rd and 4th. I don't think these two are going to be threatened by the Suzukis. I'd hope they were, but I don't think so. So it's all down to managing these two motorbikes out front at the moment. Mark, yep, he's made the pass on Dobby. Dobby's going to be comfortable now, sitting in 2nd place. I think he'll be happier to see Mark out in front of him.
Yeah, have a look at what he's got. One man who won't be enjoying this race is Joan Mir. Do you know why? Because Gav's reminded me, Gavin Emmett, if Suzuki get one more podium, they will lose their concessions for next year. And Joan Mir is going to that team. You want to go to a team that's
with
got concessions because you have a chance of improving the bike for you.
What a good shout, Gavin Emmett. What a good shout. That's why you get paid the big money.
That's why we have Gavin in this team, because he knows everything.
It's a wonder his head's so small.
It's not.
Marquez then, last time round, a 49.3. Now, did he go in front of Dovizioso to call the pace? Let's have a look when we get to the end
we'll find out in one corner.
We will do. 49.3 last time around. 49.3 again. I think he has, because we're in the 48s.
Yeah.
I think he's gone in front of Dovizioso to just back the pace up a little bit, perhaps. Speculation, that's what commentators do. The Suzuki's, even with that slightly milder lap time, can't get on target. Through goes Dobby and straight back comes Mark. It's almost like it's this reminds me of when you play with your mates on a dirt track bike. Yeah, they're having a great time out there. Neither have really, we've not seen the maximum from either of these men or either of these machines.
Go on, Dobby.
Straight under him.
Is this Mark trying to slow the pace down like you said? Exactly,
sure
gets in the front. Because have you seen Dobby be able to pass him in so many places like this?
So easily.
So easily. That'll be never.
You know, I just think that Mark knows he's got to have that soft tyre with him at the end of this race if he's going to beat Dovizioso. Very clever tactics from Marc Marquez.
Yeah, but they'll have to be careful because there's someone called the Maniac catching them up at an alarming rate.
And the problem is with the Maniac, he names himself, by the way. That's not a derogatory term that we've given him. That's his own self-titled and aptly correct. Tricky one to read, isn't it?
It really is.
It really is, because I think Dobby's got more pace than he's actually showing us at the moment. Mark definitely has, but won't have if he uses it at this stage.
Yeah.
The laps are clicking off. Rins has dropped right out of this now. Ione's obviously got more pace than Rins. He's joined the gap at the front. These are your top three. Dovizioso versus Marquez. Who's it going to be out of those two? Neil and I seem to think it's going to be Dobby. What do you think at home at BT Sport MotoGP?
7 laps to go, and that's tight into there. Iannone looks like he's on the limit.
Yeah, well, he was then. Rins has rejoined him, just courtesy of that one mistake at turn 1 from Iannone. Once Iannone starts to play, that was a 1:50 from Marquez then. We've gone into the 50s for Marquez.
Yeah,
high 49s for everyone else. This is a slow bicycle race. All because of tyres. It was always going to be tyre management. Everyone's been talking about it all week. Once again, we're seeing it out on the racetrack. Intelligent racing, because he who gives up and starts spinning that rear tyre early. Been a very spectacular week watching MotoGP bikes in free practice. Jack Miller has entertained us with big sideways action the way around here, through turn 10, the Marquez corner.
Just looking down, Jody Torres is in last place. He's only a couple of seconds, 2.8 seconds behind his teammate, doing a good job. Only 41 seconds behind these two in his first ever Grand Prix on a 2-year-old Ducati. I think that's respectable enough. There's one thing, he's not going to be getting lapped.
Alluding to Christoph Ponson, the guy who had the bike last time out, but did a good job, but was out of his depth at this level. as I think many riders would be if they went out to a MotoGP race and that was the first time he'd ever ridden the bike, tried the tyres and so on and so forth. But that's another chapter. It won't happen again, by the way. They've changed the rules. Now the management have to agree who your replacement rider is going to be. So we won't see any more Christoph Ponson type things ever again. Bradley Smith still in 12th place. Alberto Puig looks on, as do the Ducati men. They know what's going on. This would have been discussed many, many times. 49.4 that time for both the top men. So they again have increased by half a second. It's just yo-yoing. You would not see this inconsistency if they were going for it.
No, you're right.
It would be a consistent lap time that within a tenth each lap, usually, barring a mistake. But we are seeing half a second inconsistencies between the two leaders here.
I think the fact, watch Dobbins here, this is the last lap. Gets a kicker there, proper stop, it comes around on him. He has to release a brake a bit to get it in. Well, he was about to say he was going to release a brake, he didn't. what a technique he's got.
Such a feel, hasn't he, for it? And doesn't even run wide. Didn't even run wide there. I was expecting a little more spectacular in turn one, but no, made the apex. Love this corner. I love the corner because you're out wide before you start to turn it on the gas towards the apexes, the natural apex of the corner. Just a beautiful set of corners here. So Dovizioso still leads from Marc Marquez and Andrea Iannone from Alex Rins, who's back in a distant fourth now. Pedrosa still fifth. No podium coming his way, barring anything happening out the front, boys. Aleix Espargaro still a good sixth in front of Danilo Petrucci and Jack Miller. I tell you what, if that Aprilia ends up in sixth place at the end of this race, that will be a massive result for them.
Yeah, 5.4 seconds off the lead at the moment.
Which is superb. Aprilia brought another motor here. Riders didn't particularly like it, but the data guys did. We're at the end of the straight. Just one more corner before we turn. Look how long they're off the throttle for, just waiting for that opportunity to squirt it. Tell you what, out of all these bikes, that looked like the Ducati was squirming that little bit more than even the Honda. So even though he's got a hard compound front, a hard compound rear in the Ducati, that soft rear shod Repsol Honda is still right there. 5 laps to go, and I would have thought by now Dovizioso might just be thinking about getting a move on here. It was down to 49.2 last time around, so it took another couple of tenths off the lap before. There's a certain amount of consistency now coming into these times.
Yeah, I think about 7 laps ago when he did his fastest lap of the race, 8 laps ago or whatever it was, when Dobby did that was his attempt at the breakaway. He did a couple of laps and he didn't quite manage it, so then he's backed off a fraction.
Then we had Mark riding all over him, trying to slow him up even more.
Slow him down. Now he's got back to the front, trying to control it. There's how many laps to go? 4.5 laps we've got left. The one thing this man knows in front, Dovizioso, is
a fast bike.
He has to create a gap between him and Mark, because of everything we said before the race started. It is his home race. Mark said here he goes. It's a late move.
It's very late, and you see the way that thing was hopping there on the front end as well. He was lucky to be able to pull that back. He really was, and that's brought Iannone in as well. And Iannone could be the fly in the ointment for both these guys. Straight away,
that's tight.
Back,
that's tight.
He moves him over onto the green stuff, and through comes Iannone, and back comes Marc Marquez.
What?
3 abreast onto the back straight. Now that's the kind of racing we like to see. Now it's a straight drag race between the Ducati, the Suzuki and the Honda. That Suzuki's got horsepower. Now comes through the Honda back into second place, and through in 4th place has brought Rins back to play as well.
What a race. What a section. I feel like I need to see that all happen again.
In fact, commentate over it again. Dobby back in front. But you said it earlier, if Dobby can keep making those passes back, you know he's got something in hand.
Yeah.
If he can dogfight like Marquez usually does, then you know that Dobby must have, or I think Dobby's still got something in hand. It just feels that way to me.
Just through that section though, the Marquez corner, down through 11 into 12, where Mark's passed twice now, but Mark was on the absolute limit. You could see from the aerial view.
Oh!
It's another dive bomb.
He loves them dive bombs, but straight away, these two, how many times have we seen these two fight like this?
Well,
usually right in the
last year, so many times. And who last year usually came out on top?
Dobby.
Yeah.
They were down to 1 minute 50.3s last time. Slow laps we are seeing here. Very, very slow laps.
Karel Abraham on his last lap was doing the same lap times as what these guys are doing at the front.
And Karel Abraham
on a
2016 bike.
Yeah, on a 2-year-old Ducati with no wings in 16th place.
Right. 3.5 laps to go. 3 and a bit laps to go. This is going to be An intriguing last 3 laps, that's for sure. Dobby does not seem to have the breakaway pace. The other problem is, of course, when you've been in tyre management, and you'll know this from testing, Neil, you kind of wind yourself into a slow groove. Yeah. You don't wind yourself into a full race groove, do you? When you
That's
true.
This
is very much like a tyre test.
Also, Dobby's he's already very defensive. Everywhere he's going the defensive line. He's making Mark have to either try and go the long way around or do these laid sort of dive bombs, I call them.
And he will. That's where Mark, up on the top end of the track, before we get onto this straight and down to this corner. Hello. He's out wide again, Dobby, but he likes to pick up the throttle early, doesn't he? Late apex.
Watch him here, Keith. Dobby comes out of the last corner and he'll go right over to the right-hand side, and he goes making him
turn 1. Smokes that foot underneath his left foot. His boot smoking on the tarmac. All right, 3 laps to go. Who's your money on still?
I'm still with Dobby.
Yeah, I am. But it's going to be down to what Mark does in the squiggly bit.
Oh, that was Ducati power.
I tell you what, the grunt in the middle of that. And here comes Mark straight back at him. These two really are.
Do you know what?
But they could end up with a Suzuki win here if these two take each other out.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Sorry, mate.
And I was going to say Rins, because if these two get tangled, he knows he's too close, he'll get caught up in it as well. And
Rins will cruise through the hole.
Alex Rins will do the biggest stand-up wheelie you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, I'll stand up with him and salute him for the patience. What about the Suzukis? They're right there with it.
Well, who'd have thought at some point in this race the Suzuki would have led? He actually did lead for about seconds.
For about 10 yards.
Yeah.
Right. Marc Marquez now tries to get away if he can with 2.5 laps to go. Marc Marquez corner, we've been through. Dobby now has Iannone right behind him, and that's what could muck this up. Just to get through, past the wall, past the Marc Marquez stand. Great shot. That is a bit of camera work and art, isn't it, eh? Straight back to it then. I was about to say, if Iannone manages to get in front of Dovizioso at an inopportune moment, that could let Marquez have a break.
Yeah. Marquez has given it everything through that section. He has that's the biggest gap I've seen Marquez get.
49.2 it was at the line last time. We've got a corner left and we'll find out what they have wound it up to now. Marc Marquez. Again, the Ducati on a slightly wider line on the way in, but this bit that counts as they blast up the hill. Look at how quick that Ducati gets into contention with the Honda. Oh, 49.6, 49.8. Mark is on a 49.6, 49.8 for Dobby. 2 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. Fingers crossed. Are you standing behind your settee? I've got the feeling that we're going to have a bit of a fight going on here. Here's Rossi. Rossi comes through. That Jack Miller is up the inside, so that gets Rossi up to 8th place now. And well, just as we missed Dobby having a little nibble at the side of Marc Marquez, and that's dropped Iannone and Rins back as well. It's really a two-horse race for the win, but if these two get tangled up, the Suzukis could be in for something a little special here in Aragon. Lap and a half to go. Oh, I don't know about you, but I'm beginning to turn. My toes are beginning to turn up here.
I was just going to say, I'm starting to feel nervous.
Yeah, so am I. We haven't got a settee to hide behind here. Did you used to do that as a child? Yeah. Something on TV I didn't like, and I'm run and hide behind the settee.
Look, Dobby's got nothing to lose. He's no chance of really winning this championship. He's 67 points behind. Put it this way, if he does want to have a slight sniff of winning it, he has to win. What I'm saying is, it's all or nothing for number 4. He has to push.
Marc Marquez has pulled the pin. This is the bit he's quickest at, and he's really squirted it through there. The Honda works really well through this bit, and that would be, if Dobby was in front, where Marc Marquez would do him over and probably lift him up onto the curb to give himself an opportunity onto this back straight. But right now, Marc has enough of a lead to lead the last lap. We are going down to the final corner. Marc Marquez has pulled the pin and has made a big lead out of this so far. Dobby then has slipped back a little bit. Has Dobby got anything to contend with Marc Marquez? That rear tyre, I haven't seen it even move yet, Marc Marquez. That's how much he's been managing it. Last lap time then, Marc Marquez over the line. That was a 49.0, one of the fastest laps of the race in this latter stages. So Marquez making it move. Dobby's right there with him, but this is where the Honda starts to work really well through the Nadgery little bit. Dobby's got real work to do here. Great camera. I wish we could stay with it.
That's the Dobby section there. That's where he'd done his passes, but he's
not close enough.
He's brought the gap down a little bit. Let's remember, Mark's crashed twice this weekend. He's been over the limit twice. He knows where that is. You know where the limit is.
Dobby ain't found it yet, is what you're saying.
Let's have a look.
He's going to have to get closer to it. If he's going to get Marc Marquez. Marquez just has enough of a lead. If he can keep this lead, we're at the corkscrew now, and Dobby's got to get right in touch with the Honda onto the back straight. We haven't got far, and this is where the Honda looks really good.
Yeah.
This is Marc Marquez corner, turn 10.
Yeah, I don't think Dobby's close enough.
I don't think he is. And it's really going to be, will Dobby do a do or die down the back straight? I doubt it.
I doubt it.
Dobby's going to, he's not
trying
too far away, is he? No, he's right there. Marc Marquez, the slightest mistake.
He's wide, that's it.
Slightest mistake, and
that
Dobby was, yep. Dobby makes the mistake then. We've got one more corner before we're on the back straight. Through the right, flick left. Honda man making all of the moves. He's going to be too far in front. That Honda's quick enough nowadays to stay in front of the Ducati. If the Ducati's not right there, just a couple of corners left. They say there are 2 corners, it's only really one. Marc Marquez has ridden an absolutely outstanding race. He has absolutely outthought the professor, and it's going to be a Repsol Honda win. Marc Marquez then comes to win his home Grand Prix. The Grand Prix of Aragon belongs to Marc Marquez. Dobby the Professor has been outthought, outmanoeuvred and outcalculated into second place. Iannone gets a fine third place on the Suzuki with another one in fourth for Alex Rins. Pedrosa fifth. Aleix Espargaro on the Aprilia in sixth place, a long way in front of Danilo Petrucci on a factory Ducati from the factory Yamaha of Valentino Rossi. Arles is in 10th place, and we wait for a while before Franco Morbidelli in 11th, Nakagami 12th, 13th for Bradley Smith. Good points for Bradley in front of Johann Zarco, and Carol Abram on the 2016 bike gets the last point on the grid.
You can see how much it means to these boys. They almost look slightly surprised, because I think everybody thought,
well, I am
Honda thought,
surprised.
You know, really everybody thought this was Ducati's day, really. But
well, you just wonder whether, had Lorenzo not piled it, the fact is that he was going for the softer options. Maybe those hard options just didn't give that inherent grip that Dobby needed to fight back.
It certainly would have been a different race if Lorenzo would have been there, because Lorenzo's tactic would have been to go from lap 1.
Well, to win your home Grand Prix, the reason we call it the home Grand Prix, well, we know that there are 4 Spanish Grand Prix, or 4 Grand Prix in Spain, I should say. The Grand Prix of Aragon is closest to the Marquez's heart, both the 73 of Alex Marquez and the 93 of Marc Marquez. Full family here. Good ride from Iannone, again, podium for him. Tell you what, only 6/10 off Dobby as well. And by being on the podium, does that take away your concessions for next year?
Yep. It's like
harsh.
the good. You want the good news or the bad news? It's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, well, he's got the flick from the team.
He don't
anyway,
mind.
so
It's actually quite nice for him.
Yeah, he's going to Aprilia where they've still got concessions.
Yeah, they'll have them for a while at Aprilia, I think.
That's hard.
So that's Marquez's. That's 6 wins this year for him, and his championship lead now is
Huge.
70. What is it? 72 points.
Yeah, 67 it was, and another 5 makes 72.
Yeah.
You've got 2 brains of Britain in here, haven't we?
Took me a while.
Where's Gav? When we need him.
72 points, which means this man has a chance of. Oh, I thought this man had a chance of wrapping up at the next round, but
if Dobby finished second, if Dobby finished second, he was cool until Japan.
So he can win the title in Japan, which we've seen him do in the past.
Dobby though goes pretty well around Japan.
Yeah.
And the Ducati does again. We've talked about it before. But having said that, the Honda is a much better motorbike than it was last year.
Absolutely.
It's fast as well, which and it's managing that power well.
Danny Pedrosa had a good ride, 5th place, only 5 seconds off the win.
Yeah.
Rins has had enough, he's just going home. Lives nearby, jump on a scooter.
Yeah, I'm depressed. It was Iannone who got the podium, not me.
No, Rins will be pleased with the 4th place. Don't get me wrong, you always want to beat your teammate, but that lad's growing in experience and talent. 4th last time out, 4th here. Puts him up to 10th in the championship.
But you can never deny the talent of Iannone. That's he might be quite mad to most of us mere mortals, but the fact is
he can ride a motorcycle.
He really can
when he wants to.
Absolutely. And you wonder if he focused on this 100% like most of these guys do, whether he'd be any better, or if he focused on it 100%, he'd be actually worse.
Look at Mark, he's going crazy. Careful.
Yeah, he's still got pace. I missed the Johann Zarco backflips, I've got to say, but I don't think we're going to see one of them.
Brilliant.
Great sight, great scenes. wins the Grand Prix of Aragon. Marc Marquez, mercurial Marc Marquez. I wonder what Dovi will have to say about that. He's definitely going to be that, you know, the hard tyre wasn't the tyre. And Marquez knew it. He went with the soft right from the beginning. The pace fell into his hands. Dovi couldn't make the break when he tried to make the break. Marc tried to slow the pace down when Dovi looked like he might be able to just increase it a little bit, where he would have put more pressure on Marc's back tyre.
Yeah, there was a lot going on basically.
A lot. Dovi in Parc Fermé then. We'll be hearing from him in a moment. Gav will be down there trying to get hold of him as well for the longer interviews. Don't forget, we've got Checkered Flag, our programme after this programme, where we'll be rounding up everything here in Aragon. It's in the middle of nowhere, but it's the centre of the universe for this weekend, that's for certain. MotoGP. Also, spectacular brain power being used for that MotoGP race.
Great race. I'm just going to point out, so Dovi's second in the championship, but now he's got a big lead over Lorenzo, who's fourth, which means a lot in that team, as you know. Dovi wants to make sure that he beats his teammates in the championship.
Rossi still stays third though.
Yep.
You know, Valentino Rossi on a motorbike that everybody's giving a hard time to at the moment. He's still third on 159 points. That's 29 more than Lorenzo. And 29 points more than Maverick Viñales, for that matter, his teammate. Lorenzo and Maverick Viñales are now on exactly the same points. Most wins with Honda across all classes. Caption, one of those statistics that are for the people that like those kind of statistics.
Torres did go over the line in last place, less than a minute behind the leaders, and only half a second behind his teammate on a year younger motorcycle.
That's right. Simeon is on Tito Rabat's bike,
and look at that,
Torres is on the old one.
He's only 3 seconds, is Torres, behind Shirin. It's impressive.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened at Tech 3 though.
No, it's all gone wrong, hasn't it?
I kind of wonder about Tech 3. You got Zarco scoring only 2 points in 14th place, Shirin in 18th place.
It's not right, is it?
Hey, when you're that good,
you can do whatever you want,
whenever you want, and however you want. It's funny, we're talking to somebody who eats in the Honda camp occasionally, no names mentioned of course. This kid always sits and eats with his crew. They're always having a laugh, they're always joking. They're a real big family. It's not like he works for them. It's like a proper team thing.
So with a 72-point lead, Keith, going to Thailand, we are going to see the Winito Binit Marquez, I think. Because he can afford to now not finish 3 races.
Buriram's a funny old track. I mean, it's one that no one really, when they went there for a test, it was quite negative when they went there, but then after they came away from there, they all quite enjoyed riding it.
Who was fastest? I can't remember. It's that long ago.
I can't either. But I know Valentino was quite brusque with the fact that we were going all that way. But then when he'd been there, he quite liked it, enjoyed his time in Buriram.
He was actually saying that the track's not the most imaginative one. You know, it's a basic design, isn't it?
It is. Which is a shame, because it was a blank canvas and there's been plenty of money spent there, so but that'll be the next round, 2 weeks time, Buriram in Thailand, and then it's the flyaways, Japan, Australia, Malaysia. So a lot of hard work to come this year yet. Yeah, I'm sorry you're giving me the push. You know, Nate, an unusual character, but certainly one that's still quick on a motorbike. Dovi, can't wait to hear from what Andrea Dovizioso has to say. He seems pretty happy, so maybe his tyre management was the best he could manage. Certainly at one point it looked like the hard front and the hard rear were going to work for him, but that soft rear tyre that Marc Marquez stuck in that Honda at the last minute foxed everyone. And I wonder if Dovi looked across, saw that in there and thought, oh no, we were going to try that.
I just think because the tyres are close and there is the crossover, and some tyres work better on other motorcycles. Yep. I don't think that would have affected him. I think he'll have just looked and thought, well, if he did look and see it, I would assume he'd think, well, good luck with that. He must think it's going to work.
But he knows what Lorenzo wanted to go with as well. Yeah. Interesting to hear what he says.
There's one thing, he'll tell us the truth right now. So that's what he's pretty open, isn't he?
Tyre wars here at Aragon.
I did not think this man was going to win today. I knew he was going to throw everything at it, but I didn't think he was going to win.
Sideways, 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 says Danny.
Danny's saying there is no grip.
Yeah.
Are we looking at one of KTM's test riders for next year?
Yeah, everybody keeps saying that at the moment. That is a lot of talk about it, but Why would you want to?
Well, when you've the so many he's got, which is tens of millions, to ride round a hot circuit for lap after lap doing race distance for somebody else to gain the benefits for when you don't need the money. I've done a bit of test riding. I've done a couple of years of it. It's not.
You cannot be
fun.
more motivated than racing in a team. And at the minute, he doesn't have the pace that he had prior to making the announcements of retirement. So riding round and round in a circle, testing whatever it is you're testing, half the time you don't know what you're testing because it's in the motor.
And also, he's a unique rider. He's incredibly small, incredibly light. My question also is how relevant is his feedback? Because he's, what does he weigh? 52 kilos. It's
Bring him where?
Yeah. So what's that? About 8.5 stone.
Don't know. 52 kilos.
It's not a lot.
It's not a lot. Marc Marquez, you are the man. Santi Hernandez, talking about Lorenzo. That's for sure, yeah. We all know what that meant. Hand signals. And I tell you what, Petrucci, really, he'll be disappointed to be beaten by the Aprilia. That's a fact.
By a long way.
By a long way, yeah. 4 seconds.
4 seconds. And to be 14 seconds behind, not his teammate, but Dovizioso's they're on the same motorcycle, the 2018 Ducati.
So, Andrea Iannone, aka the Maniac, comes to talk to another one, Simon Crafar, who's waiting at Parc Ferme. Good third place for Suzuki. And could he have done any better? Did he think he could do any better?
Fantastic ride, Andrea. Before the race, did you think a podium was possible?
Yeah. So for sure, in case Jorge don't make a mistake, don't crash. So for sure it's a little bit more difficult because also him have a very good pace, but Jorge start with soft tire on the rear, and I think it's really critical condition. I not push for the forward part of the race, from the beginning to the half race I not push at my maximum, and I think this is a really good strategy. And at the end I have some tenth more than Alex, and I follow Dovi and Mark, and at the end we take this podium. It's really good for me, for us. We work really well during this week, and thanks to Suzuki, thanks all the people who work with me.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations from all of us. A good job from Andrea Iannone. Top speed coming up as we fly past the Suzuki.
Yeah, the Suzuki needs more power, doesn't it?
I'll tell you what, Marc Marquez didn't give a lot
any
of room, did he? No, he'd have felt that, wouldn't he? So the number 29, Iannone, 29 years old, in his 96th MotoGP. He'll be up on the podium for the 10th time. Happy about that. He, of course, will be riding an Aprilia when we get here again next year to Aragon. Well, as people begin to find their way around the banking here, some are leaving because the Premier Class race is done and dusted. This man couldn't quite carry it for Ducati, but second place, 20 points. And his thoughts, I wonder, with Simon Crafar.
Andrea, that was a great fight with Mark. You kept the pressure on him right till the end. How do you feel?
Really happy, really happy. I mean, in Aragon, always we came here and we struggled a lot, and we in the past we saw the podium from very far. So now we were fighting for the victory. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it, but Mark is very strong here. I mean, the real surprise is we are fighting with Mark. So I'm so happy about the work we did during this season. To come here in this situation, in this moment of the championship, very strong. In our bad track, we are fighting for the victory. So this is good for this championship and also for the future.
Congratulations, Andrea.
So Andrea, pretty happy with that, but that sounded a little bit more standard to me, those comments.
Yeah, really happy. I'm shocked at that. I thought it was going to go a little bit disappointed.
Yeah.
Was that the last lap into turn 12 when he went wide? I think it was.
He didn't have the pace at the top of the hill, did he?
No.
Turn 10 through that sector, that's where Marc Marquez just managed to make, and that's where he was going to get dive bombed. If Dovi was in front, he wouldn't be in front by the time he got on that back straight, that is for sure. I think Marc Marquez, if he's in striking, he's a bit like a rattlesnake, isn't he? If he's in striking distance, you're going to get it.
Yeah, and it's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt. It could be detrimental to your health. So Marc Marquez cooling down in Parc Ferme. Everybody, he's got that perma grin, hasn't he? Permanently grinning, permanently enjoying life. And a winner at the Grand Prix he considers to be his home Grand Prix, the Grand Prix of Aragon. Your race winner, Marc Marquez, the number 93, just extends that lead.
A big thank you for the entertainment, Mark. It looked like you were 100% all in today.
Yeah. Today, you know, I take a risk. I take a gamble. I put the soft rear tire because during the weekend, every time when I put the hard, I felt okay, but I didn't feel good, you know. And then sometimes I put the hard one to be safe. But today I say okay, I take a risk, and I was riding really good, really smooth in the beginning. I was able to follow Andrea in a good way, and then yeah, we were fighting in the end. A great fight. Really some movement in the limit. I was on one time in the green. I mean, was completely in the limit, but okay, I enjoyed a lot. And thanks to all these people because you know, it's really warm, and I know that it's hard to be there on the grandstand. So thanks and gracias to Aragon.
Big congratulations, Mark.
Cheers from Marc Marquez.